Hello and welcome to the Performance Centre here at Howley Hall Golf Club in Leeds, where today I'll be taking a look at the new Sim and Sim Max driver from Taylormade. Ryan Rastall here for Golfshake.com, PGA professional and equipment expert. And as I've said, today we're taking a look at the latest offering from Taylormade, the Sim and Sim Max driver. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. See loads more content from us here at Golfshake to help you play more and play better. So let's talk about this new family. So we've gone away from the M series that Taylormade have had out for the last few years. Sim is something brand new. It stands for Shape in Motion. So the whole story behind this is that this driver has been designed to move through the air faster and in the position that the club head is in on the way down in the downswing. So you'll see with the weight positioning, it's slightly angled more towards the toe, because generally when we deliver the golf club and it's coming down, we want that air moving around it, and as it turns into being squared at impact, we want the air to move and flow around the driver head more efficiently to help increase club head speed. Now, that should help those players who want a bit more distance, but also if we're looking at accuracy and being able to tune this driver in a little bit more for people, we've got that in the loft sleeve that we've seen from Taylormade over the last few seasons. That stays. Speed injected twist face is there, which was introduced last year. So the twist face technology obviously helping on the off-center hits to gear them back to target a little bit more, and the speed injection really making sure that every driver head that leaves the Taylormade factory is tuned as close to the legal limit as possible. So we'll talk about the Sim driver to start with. So we can see it's got this movable weight here. So we can shift the weight from heel to toe, giving it more of a draw and fade bias and really tuning it in, potentially for that player who tends to spin the ball a little bit more, maybe a higher club head speed kind of player. That weight there is shifted more towards the front of the driver, more towards the face, so we should start to see lower spin. Now then, if we look at the Sim Max driver, we can see that there is no sliding weight, which takes some of the weight away from there. That is positioned towards the outer perimeter of the driver, really making it higher MOI. We should start seeing slightly higher launch with this as well. Less in terms of the adjustability and being able to dial it in, but it's super forgiving and really appeals to that player who may, you know, if you're a low flyer of the golf ball and tend to struggle to get it in the air, Sim Max will help. This also comes in the D-type model as well, so the draw bias, so that can, you know, really help those players with that horrible fadey shape to get that ball back onto target again. So Sim Max comes in Sim Max D as well. So we're going to hit a few now on the TrackMan 4 here at Howley Hall using Pro V1 golf ball. I'm going to try the Sim to start with. So I've just got it set. It's a 10.5 head. I've set it down to 8.5 because that's generally what I tend to have my driver on, and the weight is in the center of the head there. So it's you know, there's no draw or fade bias on it really. So let's go hit a few shots with it. So like I said, using Pro V1 golf ball. In terms of look, as we sit it down behind the ball, it's similar in many ways to M5 and M6 in the way that the graphics and the carbon appearance on the top of the head look. There's maybe a little bit less of the, it's almost like a off-white or nearly silvery kind of paint line on the top there. But what I will say is a huge improvement is how it sits. When you sit it behind the ball, it sits really square. Whereas I always found that last year's Taylormade drivers tended to sit quite open when you sit them behind the ball, and certainly that twist face was more noticeable. Now I don't think that's the case. It sits nicely behind the ball there, looks really square, and like I say, I really much prefer the look of the Sim driver. So let's hit a few and see how we go. So sits really nicely behind the ball. Let's give it a bit of a hit and see how we get on. But yeah, really like the look of it to start with. It's a little bit higher launching than I would normally see, but like I say, I'm trying the 10.5 head here, and even though I've lofted it right down, I think potentially I I would want to use the 9-degree one maybe and loft that down a touch. But like I say, the only thing potentially I think I don't like is that it says sim on the back of it. I think if that wasn't on there and it was just a plain looking head, I think it would maybe look a little bit nicer. But I certainly think it's an improvement on M5 and M6. It's good. Like I say, it feels really solid. It's coming off the face quite nicely. Another decent hit on the fairway for a change. Yeah, like I say, it feels nice and solid. I'd say I've hit a few there that haven't hit the middle of the face, and you know the numbers tell you that as well. But you know, when you do hit the center of the face, there's decent ball speed there. It's getting towards that 170 mark, which I'd normally get on a really good strike. So yeah, I mean, it performs nicely. Much prefer it to the look of last year's M5 and M6 drivers. Just the way it sits behind the ball is so much nicer, and certainly the performance I'm getting is better than I got with M5 and 6 when I tried those last season as well. So now we've tried the Sim driver, I'm going to have a hit with Sim Max. I've just put exactly the same shaft in, same setup and everything. So let's just sit it behind the ball. Looks quite similar. If anything, it looks a little bit different in terms of the actual size of the head. Sits a little bit different on the ground as well. Doesn't quite sit as square, but still looks nice. Very same graphics on the top and everything. So let's give it a hit and see how it performs. Much higher flight than we were getting with the Sim, but that's kind of what we expect. Again, like I said with Sim, this is a 10.5 degree head, which is a little bit more lofted than what I would like, even though I've lofted it down. But we're getting similar ball speed, similar swing speed, but that spin has just crept up that little bit, which is obviously affecting the distance a touch. But no, I mean, it feels nice and solid. I actually probably prefer the sound and feel of this to the Sim, but like I said, essentially looks very similar behind the ball. Again, decent enough strike. That one's come off a little bit lower spin. It was a little bit lower on the head, so bit of forgiveness there, but a little bit down on distance in comparison. But yeah, certainly very different to the Sim. It's definitely a driver you should try. The new technology there, not only in helping with speed, but also just making it sit that bit better behind the ball, I think really works. It's obviously got the movable weight there as well. And then in Sim Max, you've got a model that is going to help you launch it higher, and Sim Max D, obviously helping for those who need that little bit of help and draw bias. But as I always say, go and get custom fitted properly for it. Try it out, go see someone who can really help you to maximize your distance and accuracy with the new Sim driver. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Let us know and comment if this is a driver you've been waiting for, if this is something that you can't wait to go out and try. Certainly I would recommend it. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and see you all very soon. Enjoy your golf.